Hi. Okay, so I'm going to continue the story. Uh, Now, I'm going to base this on an article that I read. It was an interview with a soil microbiologist, Dr. Nichols. I think I'll post that again, so you guys have some reference and you can, figure it out yourself. uh, yeah, so I'm going to narrate this as if it were a story, to simplify it as best I can. Okay, so in this story, let's say we have 10 types of plants, uh, anything you like. And you have a fungus, kind of fungus called the mycorrhizae. I can't even pronounce it properly. Now, the mycorrhizae fungus lives on the roots of the plants, and it's a bit like me in the sense it's got this so-called body and all this hair, hyphae, that links up the plants. Okay, so it's like a web of hyphae that it also helps the plants communicate. It regulates, all the activity that goes on. It's crazy. I mean, all the new information they have on this is it's just awesome. It just made me go, wow, this is just, so cool. So you have the mycorrhizae, and then you have two types of bacteria. One is a nitrogen fixing one, and the other one is a phosphorus solubilizing bacteria. So what that means is basically it does this process where it can release phosphorus when the plant needs it. And this thing lives on the mycorrhizae hyphae, right? So everybody is providing home to each other on some level. The plants giving these two characters food, and in return, the mycorrhizae and the bacteria provide the nutrients to the plant. How crazy is that, right? It's fabulous. Um, and the beauty of this, I mean, I guess unlike human stories where we have a hero and a villain and all this sort of nonsense, government, this is a more efficient way in the sense that it's kind of like an anarchy, but at the same time, it's very much partnership and community based. So everybody does their thing, and everybody is rewarded for doing their thing naturally, right? Because it's a give and take. It's the most obvious kind of relationship, very economy sort of a relationship. Uh, and and how they do this, when you actually look at it, so the portion of the soil where the roots are, it's referred to as the rhizosphere. And in the rhizosphere, you have these sort of my previous, blah blah, where I mentioned the clumps, the clumping and the clustering. So each clump in science is referred to as an aggregate. So all those things, the living and the non-living aspects of soil, they do these sort of clumps, aggregates, within which air is held, or water is held. It retains water in the soil. It keeps the soil airy and with in such a way that the hydrogen cycle happens, the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle, all these other processes that sort of weave into what happens in the soil, right? And in this way, everything outside of the ground is also connected to the ground. I mean, there is no separation actually. You cannot have ground without the atmosphere. Like, there would be no context. Yeah. So now what we do as so-called, an agricultural society, what we've done in the last 100, 200 years is basically we scratch out all the mycorrhizae, and then we say, oh, we're going to plant some nitrogen fixing beans, right? and then we plant, we moved into monocrops, which is basically, planting one single thing all over the damn place. We've moved away from what is today known as permaculture. I think there are more terms like food forest, and there's all this new terminology, rolling in for people to sort of move away from that system. And when even what people have been doing, literally, we do this, scratch it all out, plant the same things, and then we add fertilizers, man-made fertilizers. And in the long term, what it has done is it's basically handicapped plants, it's handicapped forests. It's basically destroyed a lot of it, because in the sense that all these partnerships have been pulled apart. So tilling is basically pulling apart these partnerships. So then the trees, when they want phosphorus, there's nobody there to provide it, because we do the fertilizing only once a year, or whatever the routines are, right? They're not able to self-regulate. They're not able to moderate it. They're just lost. They're like handicapped. You've literally made them handicapped. So this is where understanding how things work in the soil, I think it's time that everybody took a new look at it, not really go by what we were all taught in school. It isn't like that anymore. I mean, you have subjects like quantum biology, evolving. I think it's, if you get into that, it's crazy how much new information, how little we knew all this time, and we've been holding it as if we figured it out. We haven't, and it truly is more amazing than we all know. So I shall post the article. Please do have a look at it, and please do your own research on these topics, because the complexity is such that there's no way I can do this comical 5-minute nonsense and help you understand how grand it is. I can only present snippets of it. Yes, and other than that, I think the next video we shall talk about container planting, because my ultimate goal is to help you guys get better at gardening. So all this I'm doing is basically leading to that. That's it, and I shall see you next time. Bye.